Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Undercard Smarks Wrestling Podcast. We are only 3 days away from the Raw exclusive pay-per-view, WWE Fastlane, and here with me in the studio is a good friend of mine and a huge wrestling fan, Bradley Smith. How are you, Brad?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I'm
ready for this.
So am I. Through the Tuesday was a lot better than Monday, I would say.
It was, yes.
And but as we always do, we will start with Monday. What were your overall impressions of Raw?
Yeah, as you said, Tuesday was better than Monday. The ratings for Raw this week were one of the worst they've had in a long time. And I think the reason why was there was a lot of filler this week, if you noticed. We go through the filler quickly. We had Big Show versus the Shining Stars, which it tied in with that New Day Oscar joke, which is getting boring. It got boring very quickly. Big Show picking up the victory there, and just some news. Apparently, Big Shaq's pulled out of their match at Wrestlemania, so Big Show doesn't really have anything to do. I guess it'd be Andre the Giant Memorial.
Yeah. Once again.
And we had Sheamus versus Titus O'Neil. That finished in like 10 seconds. Titus looked quite good when he was beating Sheamus up first, and then Bro Kick took him out.
It all turned around.
And earlier tonight, even though he didn't know the matchup yet, but yeah, and he got put over the table, Titus. I guess the New Day was filler as well because they fought Rusev and Jinder again, which was just getting very boring. There wasn't even any like ice cream stuff this week, like last week with the blueprints. And yeah, that was the filler, I guess. But the show itself started off very well.
It did start off well. After that, I thought that it really did drag with the amount of, like you said, amount of filler that went on Raw, and did leave a bit of a sour taste in my mouth going, because the week before I was probably a lot more excited going into Fastlane, and I guess that has turned around now. But like you said, it did start off quite well. I was quite happy. I didn't think it started off with a bang, in my opinion, but it did start off with two very prominent characters in a segment between Kevin Owens and Goldberg going into their Universal Championship fight. Yeah,
Goldberg, every time he appears at like Goldberg next week, you kind of expect now that it's just going to be a bit of mic work. But what I noticed with this was Kevin Owens came out and he cut a very confident promo again, like last week, and it's making his character look very confident going into this match. You kind of doubt that Goldberg could win this, actually. And Goldberg's always been strong on the mic, and Owens, same with him. Yeah,
two great characters, and we all know what Owens can do on the mic, and I think people have now got used to the shtick that Goldberg has on the mic. It's very quite basic, but with his type of character, he goes in and does his best to get the job done. So the message that he wants to send is always going to be direct and basic. When Owens really speaks on the mic, he sort of delves in detail, really. And once again, he mentioned it was more obviously about their fight on Sunday, but he did name drop Chris Jericho once again.
He did.
I mean, like I said, they'll pick it up, their feud, hopefully after Fastlane. But there wasn't much, like you said before. There was a lot of the same stuff. It was just all setting it up for Fastlane, wasn't it?
Yeah. What you said about Goldberg being very basic, he addresses Owens and just says, "You're going to lose your title this weekend," and he's been saying that for a while. And it kind of takes it off Raw as well on social media. Kevin Owens makes all these jokes, and it's very funny. And then Goldberg just always replies like, "Yeah, keep talking, I'm going to take your title." And yeah, with Chris Jericho, he's been scheduled to fight at Payback, and then he's off doing his own thing. So yeah, I reckon Payback, the name of it and everything, will have Owens and Jericho in it as well.
Yeah, you talk about like the confrontations they have on Twitter. It's very much like that when they were talking. Like Kevin Owens' name listing, name dropping all of the people that he's beaten, and Goldberg was just there in the ring clapping. So he's just sort of trying to palm off all of the, well, not abuse, but all of the confidence that Kevin Owens is showing off at the moment, and Goldberg is trying to give it the cold shoulder really, and he just wants to do what he likes to think he does best, and that sort of just set it up quite nicely. Sometimes I quite like the fact that there's a big thing at the start of the show, and that's happened before. Goldberg's not sure if he's been at the start, but he's been midway sometimes, sometimes at the end, and maybe people would be more happy if he's at the start because of whatever people say. He's a part-timer and you want to give the limelight to people who are being pushed, like Strowman, rather than someone that's already been there and done that.
Yeah, what I said about the worst ratings in a while, that came from the last third. Viewers just completely dropped off at this point with the official ratings. So I guess because in the first 2/3 you had quite a lot, but with the final third you've actually missed probably the best stuff, I'd say. So maybe starting with Goldberg wasn't a great idea, because I imagine a lot of people tuned in to see what he'd have to say. But I'd rather see him at the start, because then I can focus on the rest of Raw, because I know what Goldberg's character's like. So
yeah, well, it started off with a that big segment at the start that set up Sunday nicely, and sort of went down to straight back to reality really. If we want to talk about the match between Big Cass and Luke Gallows.
Yeah, this is also setting up for Sunday, Enzo and Big Cass versus the Club. We had a singles match between Luke Gallows and Big Cass, the two big guys of the two teams, and it was an alright match. It didn't really make me excited for the match on Sunday or anything, and all this is coming from apparently Vince wants to give Big Cass a push eventually, and there's hints that a breakup's coming soon. If you've noticed as well.
Yeah, I certainly have. I think was it this week? There was the segment between Enzo and Cass backstage.
Last week,
and Enzo was saying we're gonna win these, we're gonna win the tag titles, and the person that he's just like running around the room, he's getting hyped, and Cass is trying to, like I said, put him back down to reality. But you can see the frustration that's there. Yeah,
he said we've never won tag team gold, and the Club have won titles all over the world. He said, and he's making a comparison to what kind of team they are, what kind of team the Club are, and you could say that the Club are a very successful tag team.
And in previous weeks, Enzo's been sort of the comedic guy, and then the bad things have usually happened to him for quite a while actually. And this week it wasn't the same. He usually takes a huge bump usually, but this time he got he or Anderson, they were supporting the tag team partner, and he got the better of Anderson.
He did, yeah. So this has kind of given us an opinion on what will happen on Sunday. We'll go into our Fastlane predictions later, but yeah, it's kind of trying to tease us one way, and Cass got the victory as well. So it's before Sunday. They look like the better tag team going into it, so they have that momentum there.
They do have the momentum, but we will talk about our predictions. But I liking the Club still, but. I mean, you're shaking your head there.
Yeah.
I like them just because it's been so long until they have grabbed these titles, and I hope they do run with it a bit. But I'm not sure if this reign is gonna last for long. I'm hoping they get the better of Enzo and Cass on Sunday. Yeah,
if this split is going to happen, then I imagine the Club will take the titles, and you can look at Raw and say they are the only dominant tag team apart from the New Day on there. So I believe the run will last for a bit longer. And yeah, just what I want to say is Enzo, if they do split up, he looks like he'll be fine in his own. He knows how to work the mic, but I'd never want to see him past the mid card. He doesn't deserve any, not even like a United States fight, not yet anyway. I don't know, he could improve. And with Big Cass, I just think a bit of character development's needed.
Yeah, he's nearly there.
Yeah, he's just at the minute he's just another 7 foot guy. We've seen it with Baron Corbin. Look how far he's come. Exactly. In a few months. So.
Exactly. You say that Enzo might be right on his own, but I'm not too sure. I mean, I'm a lot more hopeful about Big Cass, but we'll see what happens, and we'll see if a split does happen. There's a lot of feuds actually around that where a split might happen, and sort of the foundations have been laid. We will see what develops. The next segment, which we will talk about, there's an interview.
There was. I was glad Michael Cole didn't do it this time.
The great colour commentator that Corey Graves conducted this in-ring interview with Seth.
Should have been Byron Sexton.
Yeah, and what could have been quite an emotional interview. What I will point out for the last couple of weeks, I like to mention my favourite wrestler, which is certain CM Punk, and what could have been a very emotional interview. I don't know. Did you hear the CM Punk chants?
I did, and then Seth Rollins said that he's not he didn't sell out. He mentioned that straight after.
Yeah.
So that was definitely kind of a dig, because we've seen that before with Stephanie and Triple H making both those comments as well. And yeah, what you said about being emotional, getting his friend Corey Graves to do it as well. It was meant to be kind of an emotional kind of like, oh no, he's in doubt. He's going to miss WrestleMania again. But yeah, the fans were into it, and they were chanting CM Punk.
Yeah, it's a shame really, because I actually thought the way it was set up, it did have the potential to be something quite emotional before, Triple H, because Triple H came involved with that segment, and so did Samoa Joe, which is a bit of a shame, because in stuff like this, I like it when you experience certain emotions. So you go through that quite emotional journey with Zeph, and then it turns completely when Triple H comes out. But I didn't really feel anything for Zeph because of the chants actually. Do you want to sort of summarise what happened really?
He got injured. He's having this face turn. I don't think the fans really bought into it, and we didn't kind of know what to do with Seth. So now he's got this injury. It does really boost the storyline with Triple H. And I'm not sure about everyone else, but I am quite excited for this. If you keep up to date with social media, you have Triple H posting every day in the gym saying he's working hard and what he does, and you've got Seth Rollins saying how Triple H helped him, created him, and now it's time to beat the ones you love. So yeah, I am quite excited for this. Rollins said he was doubtful, but then Triple H has come out and he said he's gonna make sure he's there for WrestleMania, and I think it will be a really good match.
I think it'll be good, and I like what Triple H has been coming out and doing, because it has been making this into just a match on the card into like a heavyweight.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion in it, and yeah, Triple H is coming across as a very big character. I mean, he always has been, but his authority characters is great. This is the best I've seen it. I think it's better than what it was with Reigns.
I just feel like there's something different with this, like compared to maybe the Reigns feud with him and Triple H last year. I just feel to make this as simplified as possible. I just feel something with this feud.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think it might have been the injury. I know it wasn't meant to happen, but yeah, the addition of Samoa Joe as well, it's brought another character into it, and he's going to do wonders for Raw. Obviously no one gets behind Reigns anyway. And I was never really behind Rollins, but now I am, and now I want to actually see him, beat Triple H at WrestleMania, because he feels this way that Triple H has turned on him.
And I'm glad that in when Rollins was talking to Corey Graves, I'm glad he did sort of just clear up. There was a bit of confusion, I think, around the time where he was trying to turn face. He's more of an anti-hero, more of a tweener, and a lot of people didn't buy into it, and I didn't. And I think there was a period where he tried to be Reigns' right-hand man, really, just to try and solidify his status, whether he's a face or a heel. And I'm glad he sort of talked and said he was sort of ashamed, really, to have been involved in the authority. And I'm glad that was cleared up, because we have this now, this hero, and we have this villain really nailed down. And that's what I can take really from this segment, and moving forward from that. And that's what makes me quite excited about their match at WrestleMania. Hopefully, if it does happen, fingers crossed, we know what, Rollins' injuries are like.
Yeah, I think it will happen. They wouldn't waste this much time on something they didn't think would happen. And I mean, there's still a chance he'll miss it, but it's probably a very slim chance. Even if he was in doubt, they wouldn't have had this whole. They might have had the interview, but Triple H definitely wouldn't have come out. So I believe it will happen at WrestleMania, and it will be a great card, a great match to the card.
And we will see. We'll want to move on to the women's division of the night. Now, I'll say first, actually, and I think there's quite a similar pattern developing because of the brand split back in July of last year, and the women's division also split. You could say that RAW and Smackdown, the women division is quite light on the ground, and also because the foundations are sort of set for a fatal four-way at WrestleMania between Charlotte, Nia, Bayley and Sasha, which means there's just one real feud that's going on, or two into one at the same time. There's nothing else, so you only get one long women's segment. That happened last week, it's happening again this week.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a mess at the minute. I think after Fastlane it will kind of clear up a bit because the stories will intertwine. At the minute it's just a bit of a mess. We have Charlotte coming out and Sasha doing bad mic work, and Bayley just always saying she's gonna cry, and then Nia just appeared as well, and we know of the three NXT women, their capabilities, but Nia Jax, it's kind of like at the minute, I mean, at Fastlane, she's really going to have to kind of prove herself to be involved in this matchup. And so far, she hasn't really got involved in the feud at the minute. Obviously, the other three are back and forth at each other, but Nia hasn't really got involved yet. So I believe after Fastlane, it will kind of clear up, and the Fatal 4-Way will become clear to us, that even though we know it's probably going to happen already.
Well, at first, the audience watching probably had the perception that Nia wasn't going to be involved in any proceedings on Monday, because the match actually set was, I believe, Charlotte and Dana Brooke against Bayley and Sasha. Before that, they actually came out, and we thought the match was just going to kick off. But there was a huge. They were talking for a long time, and like we mentioned with probably Owens and Goldberg, there's really not much. There wasn't any development, just because they're just keeping things as they are. Really, just trying to set things up for Sunday. And I think that's really summed up by the only thing I remember from the talking between the four was I think it was Sasha, and said Charlotte had a stupid face, and then the crowd proceeded to chant that. Yeah,
that's what I meant with the bad mic work. She's not great on the mic, so.
No, and that's I can't really remember. I think Charlotte just again reiterated that Bayley shouldn't
be champion.
And
they don't want to give much away. I think they're kind of keeping Fastlane to Fastlane, and they'll proceed for WrestleMania afterwards. They're not going to make us involved in the whole Fatal 4-Way yet. That's going to come next, or starting next week. Yeah.
Then moving on to the actual match itself. Nia sort of stole the show, but that was the main talking point of the match.
Yeah, she did.
Big fan of Hulk Hogan with the leg drop.
She'll botch it at Mania.
Yeah. What do you? I mean.
Yeah,
just that she picked up the pin.
No, because I think what they're doing is they're trying to not like she's kind of like a women's division Braun Strowman, I guess. They're trying to make her look as dominant as possible going into WrestleMania. Because with the other three, you see a lot of top rope stuff, quite acrobatic. You can't see Nia Jax, doing a moonsault.
I'd love to.
So she's kind of there to do the slams and the leg drops. So yeah, they're trying to look at keep her going as dominant as possible, to bring a different dynamic to this Fatal 4-Way. And I'm not surprised she picked up the victory.
You say they're trying to keep her going, and I think that. our predictions might be different.
This
one.
The Sasha Nia Jax one was very difficult, wasn't it?
Yes. Maybe I think they might be the same on Charlotte and certain Bailey, but there's not really much to say much more about what we spoke. But we could link the women's division to the newest Hall of Fame inductee.
You can,
if you'd like to, in Beth Phoenix, like they're doing every week. Really, they're giving these stars a nice package, a nice tribute, and I like the fact that she's in there. Like you said to me yesterday, she is quite young to be.
Yeah, it took me quite surprised. I was quite surprised at first. Obviously, she was kind of the first dominant diva at the time. When I was watching it, she was the one that was. She was kind of my era's China, I guess. You know, she eliminated the Great Khali. That's probably what she's most known for. And I think she would be very good in this kind of division now. In a kind of era with lots of models, she was the one that could actually work the ring.
Yeah, I tweeted on the Undercard Smarks Twitter account at TUS Wrestling. Very much what you said. In an era where it was dominated by females from modelling background, she was prominent enough to be relevant and to succeed. And I think that was great. I don't want to be that guy. And I'm not just that guy. There's a lot of people on Twitter because everyone has an opinion. But I think why not China? Why not China? I think we probably know why not China.
Yeah.
But I don't like. I mean, I was gonna say I think the WWE with their package, their tribute package, they probably listed all of Phoenix's achievements, which is very similar to China. But I mean, it's just obviously a coincidence because Beth has done what China has done. But I don't know. I'd love to see China in the Hall of Fame because she, I know everyone uses these buzzwords like she was a, she paved the way for she was a, I don't know what the word is, but like she paved the way for the future of women's wrestling, which is why we're here in this in women's wrestling today. Is why we had the women's revolution. But I don't know. I'd love to see China in the Hall of Fame. I'm sure you would as well.
Yeah, it would definitely get around to it. Maybe in 10 years' time.
Think?
Yeah,
I thought if it was going to happen, it would maybe happen this year.
No, I reckon they're going to kind of leave her death for a bit. I think it was the same with Macho Man. They left his death for quite a while.
There's sort of a lot of controversy surrounding him, though.
Yeah.
If you.
The same with China, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you said, she was kind of the original Beth Phoenix, and now you look at that with Nia Jax. Well, I would compare her more to Charlotte because she's the most talented on the roster. Yeah, you summed it up well. She was definitely she kind of paved. Well, I guess with Mickie James, they kind of started the revolution.
That's what they say. They a pioneer. That's
pioneer. She pioneered the women's revolution.
Yeah, but I'm quite happy that Beth Phoenix in it. A fact that I'm not actually sure if it's a legitimate fact, but rumour has it that I think Beth Phoenix is the first Hall of Fame inductee that was born in the 80s, and I saw that on Twitter moments, and they usually select tweets that are very factual.
It's kind
proves
of
how young she is.
See, when Booker T was inducted, I was quite surprised because he was in WCW in the late 90s, so it's kind of like these inductees are getting quite young.
Yeah, same with Edge. When he was inducted,
a
year after he retired.
Yeah, that was big though because that was quite a shock. That's why Daniel. I was quite surprised Daniel Bryan hasn't yet. But again, Edge's career was a lot different to Daniel's, unfortunately. They're getting younger and younger, so I imagine soon we're going to start seeing kind of people from my era again. And your era, but I know you didn't watch it from 2007.
Yeah, around that time.
Yeah.
I think you're probably a bit more nostalgic than you.
Yeah, you're kind of the 10s onwards, aren't you?
Yeah, that's when I really sort of got into it. But I've delved through all the archives, so I like to think that my knowledge isn't too weak.
It's great. Our knowledge is great. That's why we're the Undercard Smarks.
That's why we're the Undercard Smarks. A wrestling match that a lot of people would have appreciated.
I loved it. This was the only match on the card that was watchable,
Yeah,
really.
between Cesaro and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, it kind of didn't make sense why the match happened. Joe's just backstage, demanding that he just destroys everyone. He is the destroyer. And he came across Cesaro and Sheamus and Cesaro. And Cesaro said, like, watch Sheamus, I can handle this. But what they really went with is that these men have a rivalry throughout the world. That's kind of what the match was about. And yeah, it was top stuff. The wrestling was really great. The kind of thing Cesaro can do is incredible. He's a muscly guy, but he doesn't look it. And the kind of lifts he was doing on Joe was great. But Joe got the victory to keep this path of destruction going.
Which was expected.
Yeah.
But on to Cesaro, a lot of people say, I think Cena's come out and a lot of people have said, Cesaro's like one of the strongest guys. I think Big Show is as
it was Big Show that started it, wasn't it? Because he said him and John Cena are the two strongest guys.
And I think I like this match because these two, I think they were sort of like there's this word that people say they were sort of the internet darlings, and I think Cesaro and Joe both were. I think they may have they fought in Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
I believe they did. I'm not sure if you know what Cesaro's name was back in Ring of Honor or on the indie scene. It's a lot more difficult to say than Cesaro, I think. But it was nice that, because wrestling does exist outside WWE, obviously, and it was nice that they actually made that relevant. Yeah,
they're starting to acknowledge it a lot more. They don't say these promotions, but they will say in Japan, around America. They've started saying this a lot more, probably because AJ Styles most recognisably was in TNA and then New Japan. So for your best wrestler on the roster, you have to acknowledge where else he's been, because you're not just born like that talented.
Exactly.
So yeah, they've and I think with they know fans watch other promotions now as well, and you have younger commentators like Tom Phillips and Corey Graves. They acknowledge it a lot more than what JBL would, because JBL strictly WWE. But yeah,
you mentioned Tom Phillips.
I did. We could talk about him in a bit, but yeah. They did make a big note of Joe and Cesaro being the indie scene guys, and overall it was just a great match. And what I'm hoping for is there's supposed to be a draft after WrestleMania, just a small one, and Cesaro is rumored to move to SmackDown. I really hope so, because it will just kind of be a restart on his career, and hopefully I can see him up in that upper mid card, because it's where he deserves to be, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that he would really thrive in not just survive but thrive on SmackDown, and I don't think you really know how much input maybe the GMs actually have, but I think that Daniel Bryan would love to pull the strings.
I think Daniel Bryan would, definitely.
He's come out and said, he'd love Cesaro on SmackDown, and I think that was always the right place for him. I remember actually back to the draft back in July last year, and Cesaro actually said in a backstage interview, he's disappointed that he was still on the Raw and he wanted to be on SmackDown. Yeah,
I think what they're doing with Sheamus at the minute is quite good, because Sheamus is in the same kind of position. He's a really talented guy, but he's not really up in the title fights. So yeah, what they're doing at the minute is quite good. They're entertaining, but yeah, Cesaro especially deserves to be on SmackDown and in that upper mid card.
And not forgetting the face that is Sami Zayn. And Joe, after he picked up his win, he did an interview with the poor woman's Renee Young. I'm not sure her name is.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
They always say it as well.
Well, not to be very disrespectful, but she's got nothing on Renee. But Sammy's music came out and came on, and Joe turned around to face him, and from one of the sides, Sammy came out.
It's exactly the same as what Joe did last week.
Yeah.
And if you have an interview on that ramp, something's going to go wrong. You're better off going backstage. Sammy's showing us what he's capable of. He's not just an ultimate face. He's tough and he can defend himself. And this is set up for a match at Fastlane, which was quite obvious. I think it was meant to be Seth, but obviously he's injured. So they've put Sammy in, and I reckon he's done quite well with taking the roll up in the short amount of time. And it's going to be a solid match at Fastlane.
And it was nice, to make that link between Joe and Sammy anyway. I think Sammy came up through the Indies as well, and why not have this great fight at Fastlane from two guys?
What's his nickname? The Underground something.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
The Underground Smarks. I'm not sure actually.
Yeah.
They don't usually reiterate that much, do they? But they
No,
do say now and again.
Eventually they will say the Underground something. But yeah, what was I going to say? I forgot. But at Fastlane, it's gonna be a great match.
Yeah, and sort of the standout moment from the confrontation between Joe and Sammy. You thought Sammy was, done. With their little scrap, and Sammy flies through the air.
I remember a couple of weeks ago I said that they're going to put these two together because we didn't see it in NXT. We saw it in NXT once in the 2 out of 3 Falls match for No.1 Contender.
Yeah. For
NXT Brooklyn, I think it was, and it was a great match. I went back and watched it, and it's going to be probably top match on the card at Fastlane.
And people aren't going to be tired of it. I really think that you have these fights, and same with the women's division. You have these fights in NXT, which is great, and for developmental NXT, the matches are great, and it's these matches are well renowned, so people don't mind seeing them again on Raw and Smackdown on the main roster. And the same for the women's division. Yeah,
I think Seth Rollins' injury has actually quite helped Zayn out. I think it was rumoured he was meant to be going to SmackDown as well. He was supposed to be the other kind of big name in the small draft, because it's usually the smaller guys. But I think with Seth Rollins' injury, they've had to bring Zayn into it because he could be the guy that could fight Joe. So now I really think he's going to have a big role in Raw after WrestleMania with the Authority.
Yeah.
We'll go on to that in the predictions because of what I think is going to happen. And now I think he's kind of cementing himself in a good feud here, and he could really shine on Raw after WrestleMania.
And I really hope so.
Me too.
But which I'd be very thankful for, because he thoroughly deserves it. Moving on, changing gears, like last week, we had many segments, backstage segments between Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah. And
the same occurred this week.
Yeah, Stephanie she's kind of the least subtle person, I think, on the whole of WWE. She's given away that Foley's out. And she mentioned Triple H, but I don't think Triple H is going to have any kind of input on this. She said he ended his career before, and I don't think it's going to be like Foley versus Triple H. I don't think that's going to happen. But what I do think will happen is something with Braun Strowman, as Mick Foley said Strowman needs to start respecting him, or he will pay the price, which is really interesting. I don't think Foley's fit enough to fight, but the reason he's leaving, I think, is because of hip surgery.
Yeah.
So he's not in a state to fight. But what was interesting is a lot of people think this is kind of paving the way for Undertaker, as he's Mick Foley's friend, and again we'll mention it with Fastlane because of what I've heard. But I would really like to see Strowman against Undertaker.
Yeah.
Around Royal Rumble time, they showed Strowman watching Undertaker come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like, Strowman Undertaker, I really don't want to see that. But I think a lot of opinions will be changed by now. I think we'd rather see Strowman than Reigns.
Yeah, and also I think in the match between Strowman and Big Show, they were saying that Strowman has like supernatural powers. So you never know, they might be hinting that. Yeah,
they can't really go any bigger than Big Show unless you go to The Undertaker at WrestleMania. I personally think Strowman's ready. I think it'd be, you're not going to expect the best from Undertaker anymore. We saw that last year with Shane. So now the record's been beaten as well. He's just there. He's just good to have there, I think. And you're not expecting him to steal the show anymore. So a solid fight with Strowman would get Strowman over, I guess, and cement this dominant path after WrestleMania. When I'd like to see him in the main events with like Brock Lesnar.
Well, I sort of have maybe a different path of where Strowman is sort of going to go. and it's a bit of an unorthodox one, but we'll, like I said, we'll talk about that. But to touch on the Foley Steph segments, I think Steph can always use Triple H as just a bit of power, just to reference, that they're married. But also, Steph said that Triple H ended his career, but didn't he came back. He come back.
Mick always comes back.
2000, I think. He came back to wrestling the main event of Mania in WrestleMania 2000. Wrestled, I think one of his last matches later on was WrestleMania 2006.
Yeah, he's always around, Mick.
He wrestled Edge, so he's always
in the Extreme Rules match he got set on fire.
Yeah. So what she says isn't, as relevant.
Triple H did end his career,
Exactly.
The Hell in a Cell kind of ended it quite prematurely, but, Mick's always been the hardcore guy he is, and, he'll be back after the surgery, I believe. But
yeah, he can hardly, he struggles to walk sometimes. You see him walking down the ramp, hobbling like he does,
Yeah, we do make fun of him, and he does mess up a lot, but he's good to have around, I guess.
Yeah.
But he always wants to be on the camera, and I don't like that.
I don't really mind when he messes up. It's just because he's obviously that scruffy guy.
Not anymore. He's very smooth.
Well, he messes up, but people still love him. But yeah, he was involved in the last section of the show, a contract signing between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns for the eagerly anticipated match, I must add.
Yeah, it was a signing because Strowman was like, Reigns is going to back out, so he wanted him to sign the agreement to the match. And again, Strowman just looked great. To me, he's the most, apart from Samoa Joe as a Samoa Joe fan and Kevin Owens as a Kevin Owens fan, Strowman is the most interesting thing on Raw at the minute, and he has been since Survivor Series, I'd say, and this is 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
So for 4 solid months, he's been the main attraction to me, and again he beat up Reigns, which is what we like to see.
I really think they've done everything, perfect. And there's a very, very, very similar pattern occurring where Reigns is just trying to keep him down, but Strowman's just gonna get back up. On Sunday, if Reigns gonna win, he's gonna have to spear him 4 times in a row. Do you know what I mean? But he gets back up, and I wasn't expecting when.
Yeah, was it this week he got put through the barrier, and then the little ring announcer bit, and he got up, and it was shock.
Yeah, and then afterwards, Strowman put Reigns, he threw him at the turnbuckle, and it came off, and something new, something different, something that we didn't expect, and better than just slamming him down, or through that table. Yeah,
the bit I did like was when Reigns did sign the contract. It was a bit cheesy, but it was kind of good to show that Reigns is ready for this.
Yeah.
And we'll go into our Fastlane predictions. I think we have got different things here, and that was the end of a poor Raw.
A decline.
So I hope
last week.
I think last week was so good they kind of did everything early, and they should have waited this week. But Fastlane will be great. I'm very excited for it, and we'll see how Raw goes on the road to WrestleMania after.
And when you do have I'm not going to say it was poor, but I'd say it was disappointing. When you have a disappointing Raw like that, you only have a day to wait these days, because SmackDown is now live, as the name clearly states, and lifted my spirits anyway. And like Owens and Goldberg on Raw was a powerful segment at the start. You could definitely say that, and then some in the opening segment between started off anyway between John Cena and The Miz.
Yeah,
on Miz TV.
It was great. The Miz, his promos are always really strong, and this week was kind of an open Miz. He does do a lot of mic work where it looks like it is a shoot. Like the Talking Smack definitely with Daniel Bryan last summer, where Daniel Bryan walked off. It's still being argued whether it's a shoot or it was a work, and I think it was planned for Bryan to walk off. But this week he's come out and he's blamed John Cena for the 10 years of his career always taking his main event away from him, and he really opened up about it, and you really felt what he was saying. He was in the main event of WrestleMania 27 and he beat John Cena, and after that he dropped off because of The Rock, and it was nice for the Miz to be open about this.
Well, there was a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of realism involved in it. Very, very powerful and passionate speech. And like Cena said later on, it's very much linked to Styles. Styles is like gives off the impression that there's a lot of frustration he's giving off, and obviously a lot more so with the Miz, because Styles only been in the company for a year. Miz has been in there for like 10 years. He said 10 years of frustration, and the I think it was great. It was on his show, and Cena was about to talk, and Miz says you get to talk when I say so. And Maurice was just there, standing there. She must have. She was standing there for a long time before she made a contribution. But yeah, the Miz fitting promo. But as he gave some, Cena gives it back and gave it in that sort of gives a lot of realism to it, because he said, you think I pull the strings? If I had my way, I'd be facing Taker at Mania.
Yeah, this is the bit that really stood out to me. Everyone wanted to see it this year because it might be Undertaker's last WrestleMania. It does look like it as well. It looks like he's kind of taken a toll, and he's gonna retire. It looked like Cena wanted it as well, and imagine the draw power of WrestleMania 33 main event, Cena versus Undertaker. I mean, they could save it for next year. It's still a big draw, but I think that's it for Undertaker. And even at WrestleMania, if it was The Miz versus John Cena, I would really like it. I'd really get into it, as they've always had great chemistry, especially with WrestleMania 27. It wasn't one of the best WrestleManias, but the build for The Miz was great. It felt like it was going to be The Miz and Cena, and then Maurice got involved, and Nikki Bella got involved. And it's confirmed the intergender tag team match.
Basically, remember all that time ago when I heard the rumor? Really? And I was like,
shocked.
And I on a lot of YouTube pages where there's a lot of wrestling news, and even those guys on like Wrestle Talk TV would say it's a rumor, but it's from this website and they've got stuff wrong, so it can't be. But we'll make the point because it's quite.
We're probably in denial about it because Cena Undertaker.
But I think people have just mentioned it because it can't happen. But it's funny that we can make the point that it could be on the cards for Cena at Mania in a mixed tag team, and it's happening. Because I like the fact that they bring the feud between Miz and Cena in again, but it's like. But it doesn't make it. It doesn't make it serious. Get because especially when Miz, like I was just so drawn by Miz, and then you get that, and then 10 minutes later you get Nikki Bella saying, "No, don't do that to my man." And it's just like, it just takes all the energy out of you.
Well, yeah, the rumor is this is the end of Nikki Bella as well. So it looks like she's kind of put this match together, but they needed a fitting opponent, and the Miz is very fitting for John Cena. I would have loved to see a rematch at WrestleMania, but now we have. It's going to be great to see Maurice back, but it doesn't make the match any better than it is. And we kind of laugh because John Cena, main event, Triple H, Randy Orton all the time, and now he's kind of been lowered down to this. But if it is because of Nikki and they're married, engaged, whatever, it's kind of for her. And it's nice that it's for her, I guess. And
Maurice likes slapping a lot of people. She
does.
Slapped the lovely Renee a few weeks back, and she slapped John Cena this week.
Yeah, a lot of people said that didn't go anywhere. I mean, it did. They fought for the Intercontinental Championship, but I guess Renee didn't want to get involved in the ring, so they've got Cena.
Yeah, I just saying that Maurice likes slapping a lot of people, and the slap to Cena. Was then the key for Nikki.
And then the Miz ran away.
Yeah,
he's scared of Nikki
from the Fearless one, and that sort of set it up. And there was then a backstage segment.
That was so cringy, wasn't it?
Between Cena and Nikki Bella and Carmella and Ellsworth.
Yeah, the bit that really got me was like, "Don't talk to my girlfriend like that." And then he goes, "Look, girl, that's a friend." It is. You don't see them every week anymore, and it was kind of at first it's something we wanted to see every week, and now it's nice that they're just appearing every so often, and it's given something Carmella to do, I guess, next week.
Yeah.
And then they might have a bit of a build, not a build, but a couple of weeks of her and Nikki again, and it'll be good to see John Cena and Ellsworth go at it, I guess.
I think also they're just going to have some fun with Cena because after Mania, he might go away again.
He probably will.
Maybe not. Maybe as long as 6 months. We don't know. But I think now because they've right, let's go with this. If Nikki is going to have a last match at Mania, it's like, well, Cena can have some fun. He can do what he wants. He can do what he wants. He doesn't have to wrestle that much, and they can have some fun. And Cena can probably raise Nikki's hand at Mania. Yeah,
I think this is what you said. It's going to be a bit of fun now for everyone involved. But the Miz is still going to run on this. That he's always there, even though he's doing films. He's always there every week doing the media, and so he's going to go with this, I think. And what I think is, it's a long way away, but I think Cena's going to get his 17th world title next WrestleMania, probably like with a Royal Rumble win or something.
Sure.
So yeah, this will be a bit of fun, and he'll go off again. And yeah, that's it. It's just a bit of fun. It's going to be the first couple of matches on the card, third match maybe.
Yeah, I guess it's alright for some people. Nice to see Nikki and John in the same ring. But I mean,
it's the Total Diva thing coming up again, isn't it? It's for the fans that like this whole romantic kind of stuff. For us, it's a Miz and John Cena. That's what we look at. For everyone else, it's Nikki Bella's last match. She does have a big following, though.
She does. She's she's producer of Total Divas, but I don't really know what I said. I don't want to talk about it. I want to move on to Becky against Mickey in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
The better of the women's division.
They were 1-0, one apiece. They had 2 matches previously, and then it sort of came to this crescendo. Yeah,
Daniel Bryan being the man he is, making this a 2 out of 3 falls match, and again it was just solid. It wasn't anything special. And this is a very unpopular opinion, but I'm very bored of Becky Lynch now. I think we need someone else in there to be the face. I don't know what to say. I know you're a fan of her, but I'm bored of her now, I guess.
Yeah, well, I understand, and you say it's an unpopular opinion, but I think many people may be quite tired. I mean, maybe not so much as Becky, but just this, because the match between and Mickey, which is I know that's not really much of an opinion because we're talking on a podcast, but it was it was just average, and it moved on nicely for the show as a whole. But I mean, it was just okay, and I like the fact that Alexa came out and they incorporated something. And
Mickey got pushed into Alexa. So I really, really hope they're going to build on this. But you expect with Naomi coming back, it's not going to build until afterwards, which is a shame because I would rather see Alexa and Mickey. I think they'd be great together at Mania instead of Alexa and Naomi. But the reason it's going to be Naomi's hometown and the fact she had the belt taken away and she's going to come back and win it, it is a good story there. But yeah, I'd rather see them build on this Mickey and Alexa thing first.
Yes, so would I. And like I always say about Alexa, just because she deserves all of this. I'm not sure if they always had this in mind and they knew that this was going to be a success, but I wasn't won over straight away. These NXT people coming up, I thought, are people going to take their chance by the scruff of the neck and go with it? And Alexa really has. But what I didn't like is she's great. She's running this women's division in SmackDown, and then you get that to Natalya coming.
That was
in a backstage segment.
That was awful. And what you said about Raw earlier about how the splits made it kind of a bit empty on SmackDown, that's very, very empty.
Yeah, that really sums it up by Natalya saying, "I'm the number."
Why would Natalya face to face with a heel as well? It was quite confusing. If if anyone believes Natalia deserves to be there, then they're very clueless. On Talking Smack at the bottom, there's a lot of people like, go Natalia. But honestly, who would want to see her in the title picture? But I read a great rumour this week, and it is just a rumour. But we expect it's going to happen eventually, and it is that Asuka will be coming up after WrestleMania to SmackDown, and I really hope so. It would be, she'd be fantastic.
In some ways, it's a shame that you can't get those like more dream matches or relive some matches again if she went to Raw. But because SmackDown is like struggling, and you sort of want to keep the majority of those like 4 horsewomen on Raw because there's still so much potential and we can relive these matches over and over again, and I don't think many people would get that bored about it. Asuka's sort of got to come over to SmackDown and make her way, but she can stay on SmackDown and not lose like for like a whole year, and then like the draft afterwards, then she can go to Raw, something like that. They can keep this going for a long time.
Yeah, she won last night at NXT again against, I can't remember who it was. It wasn't Liv Morgan like it was supposed to be, I think.
Right.
But I think at NXT before Mania, she's fighting Ember Moon, and there's been a lot of build to this. Every time I've tuned into NXT, she's been on the mic talking about this Asuka thing, and I hope Asuka doesn't lose before Mania, and I hope she does go into SmackDown undefeated, and they keep it running for a long time until they find the right woman to beat her, which could come from the draft. It could come in like a year or two's time. Like they could really run with this. Because Asuka's great. She is really entertaining to watch, and the women's division on NXT is actually really good. So you could be getting additions from there to SmackDown as well, because I really don't want to run with Becky Lynch anymore. I'm very tired.
Yeah. Which I understand. I think that she's beat Mickey. I don't know if anything else is going to happen between them, but they're sort of still keeping her in a prominent role, but she's not. There's no build. There's what's next.
Yeah.
And I don't think that maybe the company don't know what's next, but she's still there.
Yeah, they always announce that she was the first draft pick for SmackDown, but the division's so empty it doesn't make a difference. I mean, they've got AJ Styles. He's the real kind of draw of the show. So
yeah, he sure is. He always will be, in my opinion, the face that runs the place.
Yeah, he is.
And one of his rivals over the last few months is a certain Dean Ambrose, and Dean is now in a program with Baron Corbin, which is progressing. Dean was meant to be in a
match with Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah, comes straight out and delivers the dirty deeds and get him out the way. And
that was it. There was no pinfall or anything.
We want to concentrate on the important aspect of it, and that's not Kurt Hawkins, unfortunately. It's there was a sort of comedic element.
Yeah,
which I quite liked.
Yeah, I enjoy. I don't like it being over the top funny, like when John Cena tries to be over the top funny.
I don't like that.
But with Dean Ambrose, it is quite just a hint of funny, of humour, and the parking meet bit, it was silly, but it was funny as he's kind of belittling Baron Corbin. I guess you could look at it like that. And then because Baron Corbin said, "Look, you might like to make jokes about it, but I'm very serious." So it's kind of getting the two personalities across. And we had Baron Corbin up on the Tron, and we had Dean Ambrose in the ring. So it's keeping this feud going apart from each other. And I'm glad on Raw by now they would have had about 2 matches, but on SmackDown they've kept them apart. They had the fight, but they didn't have the match. So we are going to get that WrestleMania. So the slow build is really nice, and I think we're all getting involved in it. We're very excited to see what's going to happen.
And I'm actually thankful that hopefully they're going to have a singles match, a men's singles match from SmackDown. Bar the WWE title match. That because primarily an Intercontinental is a ladder match or whatever. They've now for a nice build out that they have for a month of a SmackDown men's match that's going to be a singles match, hopefully on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah, I hope it's a singles match and there's no silly gimmicks. Ambrose Asylum match. It was a street fight with Brock Lesnar, wasn't it? Or No Holds Barred or whatever.
Yeah.
So hopefully this year it is just a singles match, because I know Dean's kind of gone a bit sour for a lot of people, but I think he's still great, and he proved that with AJ Styles, and Baron Corbin's becoming this great guy. So I really think in a singles match they could really kind of boost the show imagine it would be quite early on, but it would really push the show and everyone would really get into it.
Well, the match between Ambrose and Lesnar, had a lot of potential, but unfortunately didn't live up to it. So we'll see what happens.
That was Lesnar's fault. Because Dean's really invested in
he
wrestling.
actually wrestled the most matches out of any wrestler on the whole roster into 2016.
Yeah, he does a lot of live shows.
Yeah.
He's the main event in live shows all the time.
And why not reward him for that? They can rely on him. He rarely gets injured, so why not? Give him a singles match at Mania.
Vince did say that. I think it was Vince. Stone Cold said it as well. He's just that guy. There's nothing to him that will make him a main eventer, which I disagree with. But in the Shield, he was a lot stronger. Yeah. And then I think what ruined it was the whole lunatic bit, because he's a lunatic, but this is a PG kind of era. If it was the Attitude Era and he was putting barbed wire in people's backs, then I'd get it.
Yeah.
But I think since they've taken that away, but he's still a bit kind of crazy, like we saw in the TLC match at TLC with AJ Styles. He shows that he still has that character, and I think he's on the uprise again. And I really enjoy him.
And at the same time, although many people may not think he's going to be that guy, like the face, he's still big enough to put over Corbin, and Corbin will reap the benefits of the win at Mania.
I believe he's going to put him over at Mania. But it's not like he's going to drop down the card after he puts him over. He's still going to always be there. And maybe a move to Raw and the Shield could get back together. Yeah. That's what I hope, but I don't think it will happen. I think
one day, but
one day, but I think at the minute they're very sold on Reigns being this guy,
which many like, many dislike. And another thing that moves on very nicely, another thing that people maybe dislike is the ongoing feud between Dolph Ziggler and Apollo Crews. They had a chairs match this week.
It was the main event, but it wasn't the main event. I like you said, I think they put it on at the end because people weren't really into it, so they wanted to get the Harper Styles match out the way first. And Crews being the heel, the face, coming out and attacking Ziggler. I guess it just shows months of frustration, but the match itself, it was all right. They brought out the best in each other, and I always think Crews has been a solid in-ring performer, but there's just, like we said before, there's just nothing there.
And there wasn't before, and even more now, because he doesn't think Ziggler's picked up a clean win and actually thought and dropped him on his private bits
and his throat.
Yeah. When I was watching the episode, as he was about to drop him on his throat, it then jumped. So then I just saw Crews on
in the corner coughing.
Yeah, but then I saw it on the replay. But yeah, it just proves that because that's completely legal.
Yeah.
It's not like it was a standard singles match and the refs turned away and Ziggler hit him with a low blow. It's all legal. He's just using his head. And he's gone off, and
that is part of Ziggler's character. Though he said he's going to show these new guys what the veteran can do, and he's done it. They haven't won yet, have they? Or Crews won once, and out of Kalisto and Crews.
Yeah, Kalisto and Crews won at the elimination.
Oh yeah,
and
then Crews won.
He picked
separately.
up a roll-up win.
Out of these 5, 6, 7 matches, Ziggler's always come out on top. So I think he's made his point now that the veterans are better, and I think they just need to kind of move on now.
Like you said, moving on.
And I'm very bored of chairs as well. I used to like a chair, but now not so much.
Yeah, there was a chairs match between, I think it was Corbin and Kalisto.
It was, and then Kalisto's got involved in chairs again. Yeah. Maybe they're just trying to make a little guy take chair shots.
Yeah.
It's nice to see sometimes.
Sometimes, but Ziggler loves his chairs. He's got a chair fetish.
A real chair match. Yeah. Talking with Mick Foley earlier, I rewatched The Rock and Mankind at Royal Rumble 1999, and the chair shots. Obviously, you don't have to hit them in the head anymore.
They were pretty vicious.
They were. It was a good match. So I'd recommend go and watch that.
Yeah, that's probably why Mick Foley is. Forget I don't actually make a joke about it, but that's I hope in a few years time, hopefully
he's not like Chris Benoit. That's what they noticed of Chris Benoit, that because of the shots he's been taking, the many concussions.
And you remember Mike Adamle?
Yeah,
he's got dementia now. I don't know if you knew it, because listened to like a podcast as well, and they said he always used to mess up his lines, and when he was the Raw GM for a period of time, he actually had to come out with a pad and read
I remember
what he
that.
had to say, and like it's deteriorating now.
Yeah, I hope.
Which is horrible.
Well, yeah, WWE have made clear they're taking a lot of care in the older wrestlers that have worked for them with physical and mental kind of problems. Not problems. What's the word? Kind of issues. And I hope for Mick or for anybody that they don't have to suffer what Benoit did. But yeah, WWE have changed a lot last few years since Eddie Guerrero as well. And yeah, I'm glad that all the safety's there now. We sometimes we kind of slander it a bit for being a bit boring, but it's there to help in the future.
Yeah. And with that being said, we'll move on to the main event. There wasn't a main event. Like it was before the Ziggler and Cruz match, but I thought because this links them very well to Bray and the championship. Their number one contenders match.
Yeah, it was the main event because all week it's been talked about. On Raw they were showing it a lot as well. They're like tomorrow night.
Yeah. And
they were showing it a lot because with the current growth of Luke Harper, it's got a lot of people excited. And it was interesting, especially because. Well, what did you think of the match first?
Well, I think you said AJ also has these great matches, but you said he may not have been as invested.
Yeah, he wasn't invested in this, but there's a reason why, and we'll discuss that.
But this, this was Harper all over. That sort of an odd suplex, wasn't it? He grabbed both legs and just, as Otunga said, just threw him over his head. And I'm sure there's more of an appropriate phrase to call it. But this was Harper all over again. Although I'm not really sure what happens with him at Mania now. He's picked up this loss, and we'll talk about the shenanigans that went on. But his mini push, if this is, I think he might move on to maybe something like maybe Andre the Giant. You never know. We don't really know what's going to happen with him at Mania. But I think that he's done himself proud.
Definitely.
I think a year and a half, a couple of years ago, he won the Intercontinental Championship, and
he
people
did.
were not invested in that.
They were not at all.
Maybe from the Wyatt family, at the time, quite early. I think he turned face for a while.
He did.
But this was, like I just said, this was him all over. This is great. He doesn't need anyone to carry him, and he can definitely complement another great performer like AJ Styles.
Yeah, he looked fantastic. He showed us what moves he has. He showed he didn't need Bray by his side. It was just a clean match, and I don't think AJ was invested in this, so Luke made the match what it was instead, and I don't blame Styles, and we'll mention in a minute why. But yeah, great moveset. He was like the jump through the middle rope. He's a big guy, and he's doing things like that.
I wasn't expecting him to do a suicide dive.
Yeah. Suicida. And I hope if he doesn't have anything to do at Mania, they still carry this push on afterwards.
Well, I think maybe people who don't just watch a show as it is, and will watch their show and then sort of forget about it for a while, and maybe don't see the bigger picture, would think that now Styles is the number one contender, even though he had because Shane came out and everything, even though he had that, you think, he's in the main event of Mania. But that might not be the case. Do you sort of want to talk about what happened with Shane coming out and with Harper with his foot on the rope?
So first of all, we noticed that last week on Talking Smack, I believe Shane mentioned something about AJ Styles. They said something about Luke was the winner, and they said Styles. I can't remember, but this week anyway, we saw it mentioned a lot. We started off the show, and Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon confirmed that Luke won, and they still went on with the match though. And they said to Styles, "Look, you didn't win, so you're lucky to even be in this number one contender match." And then throughout the whole show, they were playing on. Styles kept saying he's going where he belongs, the main event of WrestleMania. And if you've kept up with rumours, it's been on and off for quite a while, these rumours actually, but it's come back into the picture, and it is actually supposed to be AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. So you believe what's going on. It makes sense now with Randy. We'll talk about Randy claiming back his #1 contender shot. It does make sense, and on Talking Smack again this week, there's like, look, we got to discuss this, and AJ Styles came out and was like, look, no, I won, I should be there. So it does look like it's gonna is gonna happen at Mania, and it's kind of, Styles deserves to be main event in WrestleMania, but he doesn't fit in the feud, I guess.
Yeah, because now that Randy Bray feud is like properly cemented, I think next week you might get Shane just saying, because now Randy's reinvoking his Rumble to face Bray at Mania. Your #1 contenders match is proving to be worthless.
Yeah, I think,
and that sets that feud up from that angle. I'm not sure if you think the same.
Yeah, I think either that will happen, or we'll see Randy versus Styles, which I'd like to see on a SmackDown show, with Randy getting the victory somehow, even if it is through Shane. And the way it's been written, it sounds like it should have been Daniel Bryan, but for obvious reasons, Daniel Bryan can't be involved. But I know we'd all like to really see Daniel Bryan against AJ Styles. But instead they've got to get Shane McMahon involved. And it's not confirmed yet at all, obviously, but it looks like it's going to happen. And what I think this could even lead to Styles moving to Raw. Vince has always said he's wanted Styles on Raw. So perhaps, Shane pushed him away to Raw, and being the face of the flagship show, which is where he really deserves to be, it looks like this could happen after Mania as well.
Yeah, well, maybe a one and done is fair enough in that case, if Vince really wants Styles over to Raw, because if you beat on I don't think he's going to reap the benefits of beating an authority figure who isn't really a wrestler,
he's just on and off, isn't he?
And has only got a certain amount of moveset, but people enjoy it because he's not around for that long. He had most recently at Survivor Series, I was a big fan of Shane in that match. But yeah, you beat an authoritative figure and then move on. That relationship is obviously going to be fractured if Styles were to beat Shane, and that sets him up for moving over to Raw if there is a draft after Mania.
Yeah, the thing is, I just can't see where Styles would go on Raw either. If what happens at Mania will happen and Brock's champion, I just don't see Styles versus Brock. I see Joe versus Brock, or something like that. So I just at the minute I don't know where Styles fits in.
Well, if there is anything to take positives from that, it's because there are a lot of contenders that could be that guy, and if Brock is the guy after Mania, that person is obviously gonna have a sort of transform into superstardom if they beat Brock. So there are a lot of contenders if there is a positive to make from Styles going over to Raw.
Yeah, I think with the story that's going though, it's going to be the Authority taking over Raw. I have ideas who would be the guy to beat Brock. I just say it now. I reckon it'll be someone like Finn Balor. He really looks like. I just think they love him, and he's a great performer. But I think someone from the Authority will steal the title from Brock. It won't be a clean win again, and then the Authority will run Raw for a good year, which I am writing a blog about actually. But moving back to SmackDown, it looks like it's going to be Shane versus Styles at Mania, and we found out that Randy's taken back his #1 contender spot. Yeah,
in a quite a huge bust up between the two. Bray has previously said that he has given Randy the keys to the kingdom.
That's what they said on commentary, and this is where a lot of people got confused. There was like, why did Randy give up his spot if Styles was going to win it as well? And it should be a triple threat. But what I think the reason why he gave up his spot was so he could get the quotes keys to the kingdom in the Wyatt compound, as he was allowed to be there by himself this week, and Bray made a mistake. He shouldn't have been there this week.
There was was probably maybe a bold move, with the way they did it, because Bray was in the ring, and when Randy was up on the Tron, he was just like saying hey, hi. He just said hey to Randy, and it was obviously pre-recorded, and the way that they did it was maybe a risk. There was a lot of editorial. There's a lot of that type of element to that pre-recorded segment with Randy. There's a lot of sound, like you had the heartbeats as the chair was rocking, and as the pivotal moment came where Randy said, we're not on the. What did he say? This is your life, this is your kingdom, but it's not mine. And the camera drew in on Randy's face, and then we knew then
that was the turn.
Yeah. And what did you think of it as a whole?
Yeah, at first I thought it was a bit rushed, but then you realise they've got 4 weeks to build on this, and the key part of it this week was Randy said, if you can't beat them, join them, and then once you join them, destroy them, something along those lines, which shows why he's doing this. He had to get Bray's trust. Because if you go back, this has been a really kind of long feud in the making. It's Survivor Series. They won together. They won the tag titles together. Bray essentially helped Randy win the Royal Rumble, and then finally Randy got rid of Luke as well, who's the right hand guy, and then finally Bray won the title, and Randy's like, okay, this is my chance. So yeah, I think it's clever as Bray now looks quite vulnerable. I guess he's everything he had is now taken away from him, and it was quite like you said, it was quite brave to finally take away this Sister Abigail figure. She's gone now, and the Wyatt compound's gone now, and I hope it doesn't make Bray. Bray said he's everyone is mortal apart from him, so I hope now he's not mortal either, and he suddenly becomes weak and can't fend for himself.
Well, it seems that he was, greatly affected by that. He was weak because, when Orton, burnt the whole White compound down, and you saw Bray was going mental. Great acting from Bray. He's literally,
he looked really hurt,
literally pulling his hair out, and I thought he may have been, he's actually nearly crying. It's having a profound effect on him.
Yeah, he's just taking his sister's remains though.
Yeah.
And
there's probably way less.
I hope they kind of build on this story actually, because we've always wondered what's going on with Sister Abigail. So yeah, I hope they kind of build on that as well in these 4 weeks. And yeah, it's surprising that kind of. I know you think different, but I see Bray as the face in this now, and Randy's the heel.
Yeah, well, I think many people might actually see. Orton as the face, because when he actually, the snake that he is, when he, turns on someone, when he turns on someone like that, you think, oh, he's the Viper now, he's a proper Randy Orton that we all know and love. And maybe people, perceive Bray as the face because of the guy he is, because of how far he's come.
Yeah, I think we're so invested in Bray that we can't help but not see him as the face in this now, as he's been the guy that's got attacked first.
But also at the same time, you might just feel that these two are such. You don't see him as a face and a heel, but just two heavyweights colliding in a great match at WrestleMania. But I think it'll be a great match at WrestleMania if it is just those two, and what happens with AJ, we think will happen with Shane.
So, where do you see Luke in this? Is Luke involved at all, or is that kind of it?
Well, I said to you yesterday that I think he might still be in the main event, but I have now, changed my mind, because this has now become so strong between Orton and Bray. That sets up a whole feud. You could really just wait. You wouldn't even have to see them for 4 weeks until Mania, and it would still be so strong. Yeah. Because of what's happened, and for Luke to now come in would disrupt it a bit, and there wouldn't be such a direct manner to it.
Yeah, I think the way they've done it is so they don't need Luke in it. And maybe at first they wanted Luke in it, and now they've kind of changed their mind. And I think the way they've done it with Orton making the first attack, but Luke's off. Luke's been betrayed, so he's off. I think the way they've done it is they don't need Luke until maybe after Mania. He can get back involved. I've heard people say Eric Rowan could be returning as well as protection for Bray, but yeah, I think at the minute you just need the singles match. You need a singles match for the title, and like you said, it's gonna be a fantastic main event.
Yeah, and that would sets it up lovely, and it gives a sense of anticipation for people that want to tune into SmackDown Live again next week. I don't always. I like to analyse Raw and SmackDown for what they are as a show before you draw the comparison, but it seems to be a similar pattern that, for me anyway, SmackDown is the superior brand at the moment.
Yes,
superior show.
It's definitely been since since Survivor Series. Maybe them winning at Mania, Survivor Series was a metaphor for them coming out on top. They just have the better kind of stories. I mean, Raw has the draws. It has Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, the Authority, but SmackDown are working with what they've got, and they've got a fantastic roster in Bray, Randy, Styles, Cena.
Yeah.
Now you have the likes of Ambrose, Corbin. They're working a lot better. They're like you said earlier. I don't know how much the GMs actually are involved, but it looks like Daniel Bryan knows what he's doing if he is involved, and on Talking Smack, he does make out like he is involved a lot, like he's the reason why Corbin's where he is now, putting him up to the main event because of his win over Kalisto, and SmackDown are very dominant over Raw at the minute.
Yeah, and we'll see if SmackDown can keep up this hype that it's been hype for a very long time. Yeah,
I'm really interested to see where this Randy Orton angle goes now.
And that was SmackDown, and we'll, as Michael Cole likes to say, we'll change gears. And this is maybe the moment that many people have been waiting for. It's certainly me, because I don't know your predictions yet. For Fastlane, and do we want to? We'll go with your order, if you want, and we'll work through that.
Firstly,
have your predictions.
Yeah, firstly, we've kind of been a bit harsh on Raw at the minute, but I am very excited for Fastlane. I have been for quite a while, actually. So there's been a few. This is up to what we've known. There might be more matches announced.
Yeah.
But starting with, I think, the pre-show. We forgot to mention Gallagher earlier, but he was just in the tag match.
Yeah.
But we start with a cruiserweight match. It is being confirmed for the pre-show. We have Rich Swann and Tozawa against the Brian Kendrick and
Noam Dar, I think.
Noam Dar, it is Noam Dar, yes. And yeah, I think we're going to start the show off on a positive, and the faces are going to win in Rich Swann and Tozawa.
Yeah, I agree. It just keeps this momentum going for Tozawa, and probably Tozawa picking up a winner, probably pinning Noam Dar.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Kendrick and Dar would win, because Kendrick's on this sort of rampage of teaching him a lesson. This might be lesson number 4. You never know. But I am going with Tozawa and Swann.
Secondly, I don't think there will be any more pre-show matches. It might be announced on the night. But then we move on to the Club and Enzo and Cass, and I'm going with the Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No surprise for me that you've gone for that, and probably same for me. But I don't think the Club is going to win clear. I think they might have maybe a dirty win, because it gives Enzo and Cass a reason to still want to be in a match for the tag team championships once again. And I think at Mania there's going to be a triple threat tag team.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You is that sort of the same reason why you feel the Club are going to win?
Yeah, I think the Club is just going to keep the momentum going as the tag champs past WrestleMania as well. Perhaps the title change, but I don't think so at Mania. And yeah, like you said, it's going to make what's the word? It's going to kind of put pressure between Enzo and Cass as well, and pave the way in for Cesaro and Sheamus again. Yeah. And yeah, that's that. Next, I've gone for Nia Jax to beat Sasha.
That's the first one that we have.
Oh.
Differences, and why do you just want to keep the momentum going, do you think?
Yeah, I think they want to keep Nia Jax looking unbeatable at the minute, and I think this is going to frustrate Sasha, to which I think will lead to a Fastlane heel turn for Sasha, as she's going to come out later in the night and cost Bayley the title.
Yeah. Now you've said that, because I always think there's going to be a Sasha Banks heel turn, but I thought it might be at Mania. Yeah, because she can't win the big one. She can't win the big one, and that frustration will come out on the biggest stage of them all.
Yeah, what I said to you was at Mania, though, it's going to be the 3 heels against the one face in Bayley, and Bayley's going to overcome them all. So that's that. Yeah,
but yeah, I'm going with Sasha because she's lost 2 fights against Nia, and there needs to, she needs to have a claim of some sort to be put into this. I know she picked up a win over Charlotte. That Dana came in, and then I think Sasha came out. Bayley came out rather, because Sasha was in the match. But I think that Sasha needs a prominent claim to still be in this fatal 4-way at Mania if it does happen. And if she's going to lose to Nia for the 3rd time, then she doesn't really have a claim.
Yeah, I think the heel turn will kind of claim that though. But
yeah,
we'll see. Next, this really surprises me. I'm not sure why I've gone with it, but Jack Gallagher to beat Neville, another title change on a pay-per-view for the cruiserweights. But my thinking is, with Austin Aries claiming he's coming back, it can't be Neville against Aries, so I've got to see Gallagher against Aries.
Yeah, I've there's another one that we're disagreeing on. I forgot about this one. I thought we'd probably be different on 2 with one coming up. But I've gone with Neville. Just because I'm not really sure what the other cruiserweights will do. I was thinking maybe a ladder match for the cruiserweight championships, but maybe Neville and Austin Aries is great and would really sum up. Well, not really sum up, because if you look down the rest of the roster on the cruiserweight, maybe not as strong or as relevant as maybe other people would perceive. But that match at Mania, maybe prove how far it's come over the last few months, maybe. Yeah. So I think it might only be a singles match, and maybe the cruiserweights, the rest of them might do something on the pre-show.
Yeah, I don't think there's space for that though. So I don't know, but I would like to see Neville against Aries, but I don't think that would happen as they're both heels, and in the cruiserweights it's all about the positivity of the face, and there's been so much momentum with Gallagher at the minute that I just don't see it slowing down, and I see a title change.
That's fair enough, but we will see.
And next we're going with Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn, and I have a big story about this. I think Joe's going to win, and then continue to beat up Zayn, and we see the return of Finn Balor to come to Zayn's rescue.
I mean, that's a great claim, to be fair, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I mean, I think Finn Balor I wasn't sure if it was I think it may have been an NXT live event, or was it an actual episode?
Yeah, he came out to help Nakamura at NXT, and it is confirmed 3 weeks time, a live show. It's going to be Triple H, Samoa Joe and Owens against Sami Zayn, Jericho and Finn Balor. So Finn Balor is back wrestling in a couple of weeks time, and I think he needs to get on Raw now, because it's only 4 weeks to WrestleMania. So I think the appearance at Fastlane will set up a match of Joe versus Balor at Mania.
Yeah, that's another one that I'm not surprised that we can agree on. I think Samoa Joe will keep this.
Yeah, keep the path of
keep the path of the destroyer that he's known as going, and we'll see what happens.
I believe Charlotte will recapture the title. I heard that Bayley wasn't meant to win anyway, so we've always said Bayley's going to win at Mania. So Charlotte's going to keep this pay-per-view running one more time, and beat Bayley. Yeah,
I mean, Charlotte. I mean, why have this pay-per-view streak going for so long and then lose it at Fastlane? Yeah. As simple as that. Charlotte's going to be winning. This is probably one that I'll be most sure of. Even though it's a total change. Sure Charlotte's winning. And that's that. It's as simple as that, really.
And we go into the biggest match of the night, apart from the main event. Reigns versus Strowman, and I believe we've disagreed on this. I've gone with Roman Reigns.
We sure have disagreed. Why do you
right? Well,
how confident are you about
contrasting what I said earlier about maybe the triple threat with Undertaker, or we want to see Strowman against Undertaker? What I think will happen is this is the decline of Strowman now and the uprise of Reigns. I think Reigns will have something to do after Mania in the main event. Hopefully not, but there's nowhere else for him to be unless this Undertaker match.
Yeah, but I think that a triple threat maybe would not be very fitting for Taker, because if this is going to be Taker's last match, or as he gets to the end of his career, why would Taker be in a triple threat? He wants a singles match and make his match as important as possible.
Yeah, I have heard that Undertaker's meant to get involved in this match, but I don't see him getting involved in the match. I see him coming out afterwards. But the thing is, it's not the main event, so why would you have the climax of Undertaker coming out, like the black and the dum, and then we still have another match to go? So,
well, I think that might.
It could happen, but then I don't see...
I'm going with Strowman because of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, I just can't see Undertaker and Balor coming out at the same night, so perhaps Balor's going to be Monday.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Maybe right.
Yeah, I hope not. I want to see him at Fastlane.
But I'm actually quite confident about these, and confident going into the main event.
Yeah, I think Reigns was the hardest choice, but he's the face. He's the face that runs the place, not AJ Styles. And the main event, very obvious, Goldberg to win.
Yeah, I've gone with Big Bill. The only question mark that surrounds that is how long is he actually going to go with Owens, and what part in the match maybe Jericho was going to play, or if he does.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope it would set up the match at WrestleMania between Jericho and Owens, but maybe that's the point. Maybe Goldberg's going to start getting tired, and Owens like, okay, I can capitalise on this. Then Jericho gets involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, how it's going to happen, we don't know. But Goldberg will win the Universal title.
Yeah, I'd be unbelievably surprised if he didn't. But that's all eight matches.
I'd love to see Jericho and Owens for the Universal title, but it'd be United States.
And if you get all 8 right, then when we sit down and watch Mania, I'll buy you all the food you want. Right?
Same with you, I guess.
Really?
I don't know.
Hey, you regret saying that?
I will. I've said it.
I think there's always going to be one.
There's one that always messes up, but
maybe a little surprise, like at the Chamber, a couple of matches that hit me by surprise. That's why I probably wasn't on my best day in terms of my predictions for Elimination Chamber, but I'm a lot more confident going.
If Strowman wins, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But that's it. I'm excited for Sunday.
This has been a hell of a long podcast.
Yeah, we had a lot to get through.
We are about to hit 1 hour 27. We just hit that, and we always knew it was going to be a jam-packed show. Next week will still be quite jam-packed with the fallout of Fastlane and what we thought of it. But that's it for this week. Quickly before we go, we haven't had time yet, and we always love to plug our stuff on social media. Follow us on Twitter, TUS Wrestling. What's your handle on your
TUS Bradley?
And follow me on Twitter at MattDale97.
You need a TUS in there.
I know. I need
you use it for everything, though, don't you?
Yeah.
I have a separate one for football.
But I don't like the idea anymore of having like your date of birth, like the 97 on your handle. So I might need to change that. We're on SoundCloud. Just the Undercard Smarks.
I apologise, we weren't on YouTube last week. It was my birthday, so I had to, go and do things. But we'll be on YouTube this week, and perhaps if let us know if you want other content. As I will doing a Supercard Road to Glory, if you know what that is, this weekend as well.
Yeah, and hopefully this week once up on YouTube, this is the start of the podcast going on there on a weekly basis, and we're trying to upload this on as much as we can and get subs out there. If there's any, like Brad said, give us input, because this is just a straight up chat for an hour and a half this week anyway, usually an hour. But if there's stuff you'd love us to change, please give us input, because
we got ideas for specials. We're planning on doing more than one episode a week, so
yeah. Well, we'll see what time we have, and I'll certainly be. I'm sure both of us will be dedicating our time into this podcast, because I'm leading up to WrestleMania. I'm certainly interested in talking about it.
Yeah, this is the best time to do it. Right to WrestleMania, a lot of opinions flying about, a lot of news, and
I think we've given all of our opinions today. And that is that. Thank you for joining us, Brad.
Thank you.
This has been episode 4 of the Undercard Smarks. We will catch you next week. See you later.